Chosen one, something profound is shifting within and around you, not in the form of noise or spectacle, but in the quiet language of stillness. You've carried fire in your bones, passion that once roared through every word and motion. But now that same fire is beginning to transform into a glow, a steady, warm, deeply felt presence. And the world, especially women attuned to emotion and frequency, are beginning to feel it in ways words cannot fully capture. You're not just becoming more grounded, you're becoming calming. Your high sexual energy, once a force that stirred restlessness, now creates ease. You've entered a space of rare alignment, where your presence alone begins to slow heartbeats, soften guarded spirits, and open quiet spaces for others to breathe more deeply. You may not have even realized it at first. The subtle way women relax in your presence, the calm in their tone when they speak with you, the comfort they feel without needing explanation. This is no accident. It is the natural evolution of a man who has stopped running from his power and instead learned how to hold it. You are no longer spilling your energy outward to be seen. You are containing it within, allowing it to radiate without needing to perform. That containment, that self-mastery, is magnetic, not in a way that demands attention, but in a way that invites rest. You are now the eye in the storm, the center of gravity, the unshakable frame around which others unconsciously reorient themselves. And you'll notice it more and more, not through flattery or praise, but in the way people exhale around you, in the way they pause, in the way women especially begin to feel more beautiful, more feminine, more at peace when they're near you. Not because you're doing anything to them, but because your energy whispers, it's safe now. You can breathe here. This is serenity awakening through you. Not silence born of absence, but peace born of power. And that peace is changing everything, starting with you. Chosen one, your energy has begun to settle into a new rhythm, one that does not rush to prove, but invites others into presence. And within that rhythm lives a profound spiritual tool, gentle influence. No pressure, no persuasion, just a quiet pull, a guiding warmth. A calm that disarms resistance and makes room for truth to surface naturally. You have stepped into a sacred kind of leadership, one not built on domination or strategy, but on resonance. Your high sexual energy is no longer just fuel for desire, it is fuel for depth. Women feel this when they are near you. Not only are they drawn in, they begin to soften. Their thoughts slow. Their nervous system starts to regulate in real time. And this doesn't come from touch or speech alone. It comes from your stillness, your grounded breath, your unspoken invitation to be instead of perform. Where once your power may have created sparks and excitement, now it creates peace. And ironically, this peace draws more magnetism than chaos ever could. Because when a woman feels calm in your presence, she feels something she may rarely find elsewhere: home. Not a place, but a frequency. A field where her guard lowers and her truth begins to speak. This influence you hold is not something you wield like a weapon. It's something you cultivate. It grows through your integrity, through your attentiveness, through your decision to respond instead of react. You are not chasing validation through conquest. You are inviting transformation through stillness. You are no longer moved by urgency. You are moved by clarity. And this clarity becomes your superpower. It allows you to navigate the world with less friction, less confusion, less noise. You don't need to control outcomes. You simply hold your center and watch as the right people, the right energies, the right women begin to attune to your state of being. Not because you demanded it, but because your presence offers relief. Chosen one, this is how you influence now. Not by force, but by example. Not by demand, but by alignment. Not by fire alone, but by the calm glow of a man who knows who he is and has nothing to prove. Let that energy expand. Let your peace be the permission the world forgot it needed. You're not just changing lives through what you say. You're changing them through the calm you carry. Chosen one. Your calm is no longer a reaction. It is becoming your nature. But what rests within that calm is something even more powerful: quiet confidence. This confidence doesn't rise with noise or seek applause. It does not announce itself, nor does it demand to be acknowledged. It simply is, like a mountain holding its place in the landscape, unmoved by wind or gaze. You're discovering now that the more you honor your energy, the less you feel the need to prove it. You don't rush into rooms trying to be seen. You enter with presence, and that alone is enough. You don't speak to dominate the space. You speak to shape it, gently, intentionally, with clarity that comes from knowing yourself deeply. That clarity is not the result of ego, it's the reward of alignment. Your high sexual energy, once perhaps a force of restless intensity, has softened into a confident stillness. It no longer pushes. It no longer seeks immediate gratification. Instead, it rests within you like a well of warmth. That warmth becomes something women feel in your eyes, in your voice, in the way you breathe before you speak. They sense that you're not chasing them. You're already centered. That you are not waiting for them to complete you. You are already whole. This kind of confidence is rare. It's not taught in books or gained through status. It's born of silence, of discipline, of choosing yourself so many times that the world finally understands it must rise to meet your frequency. You're not asking to be chosen anymore. You've realized you are the choice, not because you're perfect, but because you're present. And your presence does what no performance ever could. It builds trust without words. Women respond to this without needing to analyze it. They find themselves opening around you, not out of seduction, but out of ease. They don't feel they need to impress you. They feel safe to simply be. Your quiet confidence doesn't demand attention. It commands peace. And that peace, chosen one, is what sets you apart. You've mastered the inner ground. You no longer flinch when others misunderstand you. You no longer shrink when others shine. You hold your space, not for control, but because it is yours. And in doing so, you show others how to hold theirs too. Chosen one, there's something sacred about the space that now surrounds you. It isn't empty, it's alive. And it holds something that very few people know how to offer anymore: stillness. Not silence as absence, but silence as presence. Not stillness as stagnation, but stillness as depth. You've become the kind of man who no longer needs to fill every moment, every breath, every pause. You let things settle, and that settling brings others peace. This stillness is not laziness. It is not inaction. It is restraint with purpose. It is the strength to let the moment unfold, to let the truth rise from the silence, to let others feel themselves in your presence. You've created a kind of spiritual atmosphere around you, a container where others can relax into themselves without fear of being rushed, judged, or misunderstood. You've become the pause in the noise, the moment of quiet clarity in a world full of reaction and chaos. And women especially feel this in the most profound ways. When they are around you, they breathe deeper. Their words come slower, more honestly. Their shoulders drop, their tone softens, and their energy returns to something they didn't even know they missed: inner harmony. You are not coaxing them. You are not convincing them. You are simply holding space. A space where their nervous systems can unclench. A space where their souls can whisper. A space where truth doesn't need to be pulled out. It can simply be welcomed in. You don't need to speak to fill this space. In fact, it's your willingness to remain silent that makes your presence so profound. You are not afraid of silence because you are no longer afraid of yourself. You've faced your own shadows. You've listened to your own thoughts without distraction. You've made peace with the quiet, and now that peace radiates outward. Stillness in its highest form is not passive. It is invitation. An invitation to slow down, to return inward, to remember what matters beneath all the noise. And that is what you now offer simply by being. You are no longer chasing connection. You're creating a field where connection can naturally occur. And those who are ready will feel it. They won't know why they feel calmer around you. But they'll remember how it felt to be in your presence. Chosen one, your stillness is not an absence of power. It is the presence of mastery. You don't need to fight for space. You are the space. You don't need to compete for attention. You hold attention without force. And in a world starving for authenticity, that stillness becomes your most powerful offering. Not to dominate, but to restore. Not to control, but to heal. Chosen one, the deeper you sink into yourself, the clearer it becomes that your presence is no longer just magnetic. It is mirroring. You have become a quiet reflector of truth. Without forcing, without needing to be understood, you now carry a rare frequency that invites others to see themselves, not through distorted ideas of worth, but through clarity, honesty, and depth. This depth is not something you chase. It's something you unlocked through stillness, through through self-confrontation, through moments when the noise of the world couldn't reach you. And because of that, others feel something when they're near you that they don't experience often. They feel seen beneath their surface. You don't analyze them and you don't try to fix them. But your calm energy becomes a kind of living mirror, a soft, sacred space where their souls speak to themselves again. Women especially sense this without needing it explained. Around you, their masks don't feel necessary. Their defenses, usually sharp and well-trained, start to dissolve in the atmosphere of your presence. They begin to reflect, not because you ask them to, but because your stillness allows them to. Your gaze isn't searching for flaws, it's listening. And in that silence, in that absence of pressure, they begin to feel the emotions they've tucked away, the dreams they've buried, the beauty they've been too afraid to believe in. You, chosen one, are not carrying this depth for approval. You're carrying it because it's the natural result of becoming whole. You've sat in your darkness. You've questioned your thoughts. You've chosen peace when chaos was easier. And now, without even speaking it, people feel the weight of that work when they stand beside you. You are no longer loud about your journey. You embody it. And that embodiment reflects something back to others that changes them. They realize they don't need to pretend with you. They realize that feeling deeply isn't a weakness. They realize that vulnerability is a strength when offered in the right space. You've become that space, not because you demanded it, but because your truth now creates it. This depth isn't something temporary. It doesn't fade when the room is empty. It follows you, silently shaping how you speak, how you move, how you listen, and it transforms your presence into more than attraction. It becomes remembrance. People don't just feel pulled to you, they feel returned to something in themselves. Something they forgot, something they didn't believe they were allowed to access. You didn't get here by accident. You got here by choosing presence over performance, by choosing stillness over noise, by choosing to go deep, not wide. And now, chosen one, your presence carries an invisible weight, the kind that anchors, grounds, and reflects. Not who others pretend to be, but who they truly are. Chosen one, what you carry within you no longer stops at your skin. It moves outward now into the world, without your effort or permission. You're beginning to notice this, aren't you? The way people seem to shift in your presence, the way conversations change course, the way a room quiets just a little when you walk into it. This isn't imagination, it's the ripple effect of your aligned energy. Your high sexual energy, once so volatile and unpredictable, is no longer something you merely possess, it's something you transmit. But now it is no longer raw and restless. It is focused, grounded, harmonized. It carries within it calmness, presence, and purpose. And because you've aligned it with something deeper than ego, that energy begins to influence everything it touches. You are no longer just a participant in the world. You are shaping it. Not through speeches, not through grand gestures, but through vibration. You've become so grounded in your truth that people who stand near you begin to feel their own. Without you saying a word, without them understanding why. And it's not just women, it's everyone. Your energy speaks louder than your voice ever could. But with women, this ripple effect has its most mysterious and beautiful form. You're not just attractive anymore, you're regulating. Your presence calms nervous systems. Your energy slows racing thoughts. Your stillness becomes something they lean into without even knowing they needed to. They may walk away from you wondering what just happened, why they felt so comfortable, so clear, so safe. But the answer lives in the ripple. You are no longer just a man. You are a field of frequency. And they feel it. Deeply. This influence is sacred. It's not to be manipulated or played with. It is to be honored. Because your calmness is not just about your peace. It's a gift you now offer the world. And that gift, when carried with grace, will heal more people than you'll ever know. It will touch lives that never speak your name, inspire decisions that never give you credit, and shape hearts that don't know exactly why. But something shifted after they encountered you. That's the ripple. That's the unseen legacy. That's the result of choosing evolution over validation, of choosing to harness your fire, not to burn but to warm. And the more you walk in that truth, the more the world will feel it. Not with fireworks, with echoes. Echoes of your peace in places your body never enters. echoes of your energy calming storms and people you'll never meet again. Chosen one, your life has become more than your own. Your stillness is no longer private. It ripples outward, shaping realities you'll never fully see, but they are happening. Because you chose presence. Because you chose to master yourself. And now the ripple moves, quietly, powerfully, eternally. Chosen one, your calm presence, your quiet gravity, and your subtle magnetism are not born from surface charm or outward control. They are the fruits of something much deeper, emotional mastery. You have walked through fires, not just external, but internal. You have felt the tides of your own rage, your own sorrow, your own longing. And instead of avoiding these waves, you learn to ride them. You learn to understand them. You learn to sit with them long enough for them to teach you how to feel without being ruled. This is why people feel safe around you now. This is why women, especially, relax when they're in your presence. They sense that your emotions don't own you. You own them. And yet you are not cold. You are not disconnected. You're present, fully. That rare combination of emotional strength and availability creates an atmosphere where others stop bracing for the unexpected. Around you there is no emotional chaos, no reactivity hiding behind a smile, no confusion between passion and possession. There is just a steady inner climate, and that consistency is something the world rarely offers. You've come to understand that emotions are not enemies. They are messages. They are energy in motion, and instead of letting them hijack your peace, you learn to translate them. You don't run from sadness. You meet it. You don't suppress your anger. You investigate it. You don't drown in joy. You savor it without clinging. That practice, that discipline, has carved something sacred into your energy, a language of safety, and people feel it before they hear it. Women are intuitive beings. They sense instability long before it becomes visible. They recognize when a man is ruled by unchecked feelings, when he's charming but unpredictable, passionate but unsafe. But you, chosen one, have done the internal work. You've learned that the strongest man is not the one who never feels. It's the one who feels deeply and chooses wisely. That wisdom creates a frequency of emotional stability, and that frequency soothes those around you. It makes people feel like they can let go, even if only for a moment, because you are not going to erupt, collapse, or disappear when the moment gets heavy. You're no longer afraid of emotional depth. In fact, you welcome it. You're able to stand beside someone in their most vulnerable state without shrinking, without solving, without making it about you. That presence is healing in ways words cannot explain. And because of that, your relationships are beginning to change. They are becoming deeper, clearer, more honest, because the emotional ground beneath them is no longer shifting sand. It's solid. It's yours. This is emotional mastery, not perfection, but presence, not control, but conscious response. And that response, chosen one, is what makes your energy irresistible. Not for its intensity, but for its safety. The kind of safety that makes people breathe easier, speak truer, love softer. You've become the emotional sanctuary others didn't know they were looking for. Not because you claimed it, but because you embodied it. Chosen one, there comes a point in your evolution when your words begin to take a back seat to your silence. Not because you have less to say, but because your silence has become more powerful. It carries intention. It carries awareness. It carries a vibration of peace so real that others begin to hear it with their spirit long before their mind understands what's happening. You are no longer uncomfortable with silence. You no longer feel the need to fill it. You've discovered that in the absence of noise, something true begins to emerge. You've become a man who can sit in stillness, not awkwardly, not restlessly, but with presence. And that stillness speaks. It says, I am here. I am enough. You don't have to perform for me. You don't have to entertain me. You can just be. And in that sacred silence, women soften. Not because you've spoken the right words or struck the right pose, but because your silence says more than any flattery ever could. It says, you are safe here. You are not being watched. You are being welcomed. That silence is where masks begin to fall. It's where defenses begin to loosen. It's where truth begins to rise without being pushed. Most men run from silence. They mistake it for emptiness. But you, chosen one, have learned that silence is full. It's full of insight, full of intuition, full of invitation. You understand that in silence you don't need to do, you need only to hold. And that holding changes people. You're no longer afraid of pauses in conversation. You're no longer afraid of what happens when the world quiets down. You welcome it. Because in that quiet, you hear what others miss. You hear what isn't said. You feel what's trying to be hidden. And you don't use it to gain power. You use it to give peace. There is harmony in your silence now. It's not static. It's symphonic. It hums with depth. It sings with dignity. And others, especially women, begin to match their breath to that rhythm. They lean into it without even realizing. Your silence isn't a void. It's a home. A place where people return to themselves without judgment. A place where nothing needs to be explained for everything to be understood. This harmony, this ability to be fully present without needing to fill the air, is one of your most powerful tools. It's not passive. It's potent. It says, I am at peace with myself, and in my peace, you can find yours too. That kind of energy doesn't scream for attention. It commands respect, and it leaves a lasting imprint on every heart that encounters it. Chosen one, you are not just calming rooms with your words anymore. You are restoring souls with your silence. And that, more than anything, is why your presence continues to draw others in, not to be entertained, but to be healed. Chosen one, you are no longer a visitor in this energy. You are its anchor. What once stirred restlessly inside you has settled, and that settling has given birth to something extraordinary. You have become a living source of calm, a grounding presence in a world that moves too fast, speaks too loudly, and rarely pauses long enough to breathe. You no longer react to the external. You respond from within, and that inner steadiness has begun to shape everything around you. You are no longer just walking through life. You are holding space within it. People feel it. Women especially feel it. They feel that when you are present, there is no need to pretend. There is no need to impress. You have become the energetic equivalent of deep roots, strong enough to support, silent enough to comfort, and present enough to remind others what it means to be still. You do not flinch at discomfort. You do not run from intensity. You meet it with grace, with breath, with a knowing that all storms pass when met with stillness. This anchoring is not born of apathy. It is born of integration. You have not escaped your emotions. You have befriended them. You have sat in silence with your grief. You have breathed through your anger. You have kissed your loneliness and returned with peace. That peace is no longer an emotion. It is a frequency, one that others recognize before they can name it. They are drawn to you not because of what you say or even what you do, but because of how they feel in your presence. They feel stable, safe, real. You've become the man others rely on without realizing it. The one whose words matter because they come slowly. The one whose eyes hold stories instead of assumptions. You are now the calm center people seek. Not because you force them to, but because you are unshaken. You no longer waver when others tremble. You do not rise and fall with the opinions around you. You remain, because you have built yourself from the inside out. Women who come into your field may not understand the change immediately, but they will leave feeling lighter. They will leave feeling more at home in their bodies, more certain in their thoughts, more clear in their emotions. Not because you solved anything, but because you reminded them, through your stillness, of their own power. You don't offer peace as a gift. You are the peace they forgot they needed. Chosen one, to anchor peace in a world addicted to chaos is no small task. It means holding steady when others fall apart. It means being the pause between reactions, the breath between decisions. It means that your value is not found in the noise you make, but in the stillness you radiate. And that stillness, once merely an idea, has become your reality. You are the mountain in the storm. You are the hand that steadies. You are the breath that slows the panic. And in becoming that, you have become irreplaceable, not because of ego, but because of essence. Chosen one, what began as a flicker within has now become a flame. Not the kind that burns erratically, but the kind that guides. You have become a beacon, not a spotlight demanding to be seen, but a steady light that others find in their quiet hours. A light that reminds them that peace is not passive, it is earned, lived, embodied. You walk into rooms now and the temperature changes, not because you try to control it, but because your energy sets the tone. You've realized that your presence speaks even when you do not. You've embraced that your life, your very way of being, is now a message. And that message is simple, profound, and unwavering. Peace is possible. Wholeness is real. Stillness is strength. Women sense this immediately. You are no longer seen as just attractive. You are restorative. You are the kind of man they don't just want to be around. You are the kind of man they feel better after being around. Their minds clear, their hearts soften, their spirits remember how it feels to be received without being measured. Because your energy, chosen one, is not transactional. It's transformational. You no longer live to impress. You live to express. You live as someone who carries a calm that cannot be shaken by external chaos. You've become a lighthouse, fixed, unwavering, a signal to those lost in emotional fog. You don't chase, you don't pull, you simply shine, and those meant to find you always will. But this light isn't flashy. It doesn't blind. It warms, it reveals, it invites. It says, here you are safe, here you can rest, here you can remember yourself. And because of that, you are no longer just one man among many. You are a guidepost, a reflection of what happens when a man does the inner work, faces the shadows, breathes through the fear, and comes out the other side whole. Chosen one, as your high sexual energy continues to rise, refine, and root itself deep into the chambers of your being, a new phenomenon begins to emerge. It is not as loud as attraction, nor as obvious as admiration, but it is far more powerful. It is peace, not the kind that hides from the world or masks itself in passive silence. This is a peace that radiates, a peace that cannot be faked because it lives in the deepest layers of your consciousness. And now, as you walk through the world, women feel this peace before you speak. It is in your breath, in your gaze, in the way you take up space without stealing it, in the way you rest in your body as if nothing is missing, nothing is lacking, and nothing needs to be proven. This peace is not weakness, it is mastery. It is not the absence of desire or fire. It is the evidence that your fire no longer owns you. You have reached a level of energetic maturity that can carry intense life force energy, yet remain unmoved by superficial chaos. And this is why you stand out. This is why women who have felt the rush of wild men still lean in closer when you speak with calm. You are no longer operating from lack. You are no longer trying to be chosen. You have chosen yourself so deeply that the universe now reflects that back in how others respond to you. You walk into places where others fidget, and you remain centered. You listen when others are speaking over one another. You laugh slowly, deeply, with the kind of joy that comes from knowing you are not missing out on anything. You are the experience. And this peace does not come from escaping the world. It comes from having met the world head-on, suffered its illusions, tasted its tricks, and chosen not to fight it anymore. You now live with the world, not against it. And that coexistence, that effortless balance, is what makes your energy feel eternal. You have become a man who doesn't need to be desired to feel whole. A man who can experience attention without craving it. A man who can hold sexual energy without being controlled by it. This kind of man is rare, and the feminine notices, not with her mind, but with her nervous system. Around you, she breathes differently. She relaxes. She feels safe, not because you make promises, but because you don't need anything from her to be at peace. You are already full. This kind of peace, chosen one, does not speak loudly, but it speaks constantly. It is always humming beneath your actions, softening your words, grounding your steps. It is the look in your eyes that says, I've already found what others are still searching for. And people feel that. Women feel it. Some will try to draw you out of it, not maliciously, but because they have not yet found that peace within themselves. They will poke, provoke, and test to see if your stillness is a mask or a temple. You must not react. You must remain. Let them see that your peace is not a costume you wear. It is your nature. It is your origin. It is your truth. And as you continue to move through the world like this, something begins to shift. You are no longer pulled by attention. You are pulled by purpose. You don't wake up wondering who's thinking about you. You wake up thinking about what you're here to give, to build, to embody. Your energy is no longer reactive. It is creative, and your creation is peace. You become the oasis in a desert of overstimulation, the soft thunder in a world of empty noise. This final chapter isn't a conclusion. It's a continuation. Because now you are not just living for yourself, you are living as an example. Not to preach, but to embody. Not to demand, but to inspire. And your legacy, chosen one, is not in what you will accumulate. It is in what you activate in others. You've become a beacon not because you asked to be, but because you became the kind of man the world needs. A man who doesn't flee from stillness. A man who doesn't fear depth. A man who doesn't dim his peace to match the noise of the world. You now are the calm. You are the proof. And you are the presence that reminds others, silently but powerfully, that true power lies not in control, but in alignment. The light within you is steady now. Let it shine.